Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
Do you know who this man is?
So after my theatric movie extravaganza, I closed it out with a movie that I really wanted to see. I didn't know it was coming out until early in the year, give or take somewhere between February and March. And then when I found out that my good friend, the notorious Mr. Beagle, was actually working on some scenes from that film, it just made me want to see this movie. But there were other reasons too, and that is the new biopic of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, Love and Mercy. Now, I have seen a great deal of rock biopics. I've seen Backbeat, I have seen The Doors, I've seen Walk the Line, but to me, this was one of the greatest tellings of a music artist. It was told in such an original fashion that I was just blown away by how it was directed. And of course, when you have two people playing Brian Wilson, basically giving us two portions of his life, yet, while they're so distant, they work hand in hand so beautifully, because Brian Wilson was someone that I have known for quite some time. I've been a Beach Boys fan since I was 6 years old. I love their music. And I knew as I was getting older and starting to appreciate music, I knew that at one point in time, he was diagnosed as a paranoid schizophrenic, and he was known to truly get lost in his artistry and his music making when he officially let his father go as their manager and started making some of the best Beach Boys albums ever, one of them being the legendary Pet Sounds. But you could see this guy just wanting to be the best because he was someone that had a rough life. He was neglected. He was underappreciated. His dreams were always shot down by so many people, and because of that, he strived so hard to be the best, so much that he practically lost himself, and that was just a heartbreaking thing to see. And then when you flash forward to the moments that took place in the 1980s, where his life practically was on the verge of collapse, and this therapist played by Paul Giamatti, Eugene Landi really took a guy that was lost and started to control him, saying that he was being made better, but at the same time, when you took a look at the way that this guy treated Brian, that was just like some of the most horrible things to even witness. The movie itself, though, is such an amazing film. Next to A Most Violent Year, it is the best movie that I have seen in 2015. I don't know who's going to come out on top, but I was so engaged with this story, being a fan of Brian Wilson's music, finally getting this major chapter of this man's life told in such beautiful fashion. Paul Dano and John Cusack gave me, as far as I'm concerned, true Oscar-worthy performances. Paul Dano has been doing that, but I never would imagine myself saying Oscar nod and John Cusack in the same sentence. He really gave me a stirring performance as the older version of Brian Wilson, and he did it so beautifully that you truly just felt so horrible and you feared for his life. You just wanted him to get back to the normalcy that he had at one point in his time. Elizabeth Banks playing Melinda Ledbetter did a great job as well, and she was that true crutch that Brian just needed for so many years to finally get him to escape this downward spiral and redeem himself and get back to making music. Paul Giamatti as Dr. Eugene Landi was incredible. He was just so terrifying, but you just kept watching because you wanted to see what would happen. And of course you had the legendary Beach Boys music in the background, but as a fan of the music, and someone who truly loved this movie, what this movie gave me was a chance to really appreciate the Beach Boys, because even though I appreciate them so much more for what they did for music, and the story of Brian Wilson showed me how much he was dedicated and how passionate he was and how much he truly contributed to music. And I will never look at the Beach Boys the same way again. It makes me wonder why I don't have their third greatest hits album, because now I want to get to the store and I want to get a copy of it, because I already have their first two, and I love each and every one of their songs, but I love them so much more now that I've seen Love and Mercy. Guys, if you haven't seen this movie, even if you're not a fan of the Beach Boys, you should just see this story be told to you, because it is just so incredible and sometimes hard to watch a man who is truly good-natured literally get lost within himself and struggle so hard to pull himself out of the darkness. So I am going to give Love and Mercy 4 out of 4. It was a fantastic, fantastic drama, and as a Beach Boys fan, it was great to see this story told. So I know some of you have already reviewed this, but please put your comments in the box below if you have anything additional to add, and I will see you guys in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.